Hi there, and welcome back to another episode at Station Road. Now today we embark on part 3 of this video series into the extension of the Station Road layout. Now, in today's video, we are going to concentrate on the specific area that requires quite considerable alteration on the existing layout. So, as you would have remembered in part 2, it was building the framework. Now, before I attach the new framework to the existing layout, I need to deal with what needs to be done in that area. So, we'll take a closer look at the specific area on the existing layout, and as you'll see here, I have highlighted this particular area, which essentially in today's video is all going to be ripped out. So also in today's video I will start to build and plan out some of the new track bed that will be going in this area once the current setup is dismantled. So I think probably without further ado, we'll just get into it. Right, so that is the majority of the demolition complete. I've got a few more bits to go here, and this kind of needs a little bit more finesse to how I dismantle that to make way for some new baseboard area. And also down here there's a little bit of adjusting to do as well, and I'm actually going to take out this section through here because on closer inspection it is pretty rough, and I think I'm going to do a new bridge for here actually, because I built that many years ago and it's okay, but you know, I could do better for that. So that's all going to come out as well. So essentially, you know, we'll have the track from the station will lead out in a big sweeping curve that way, and then this upper level track here will basically be sort of running right through behind me back that way, and then the lower level track will be down here and will run underneath and through there, and then another lower level will run sort of down that level and around there. So yeah, I will continue on doing a little bit of finer demolition work through this area here to get this all prepped and ready to go, and I'll get back to you. So one of the methods that I actually use for working out the actual roadbed layer, although you know I sort of put together reasonably accurate sort of dimensions in the planning stage on the computer, but in reality there may be some minor adjustments here and there. So before I actually start hacking into the substrate itself, like whether it be plywood or in this case it will be some MDF on this particular section, I just make up the actual baseboard areas out of cardboard boxes. So just any old cardboard box, to chop that up and sort of map out where the baseboard is going to go. So we've just got a flattened box here, and I'm just doing the measuring up now, and I've worked out sort of where this is going to go through. This will be the beginning, sort of essentially through here is really the beginning of the fiddle yard through here, so the tracks will actually come down and start to fan out. So once I've cut this out and happy with the shape of the cardboard, then of course I use that actually as the template to cut out the actual MDF or ply or whatever you're actually going to be using on the layout. So I've done some measuring here. I'm just going to go ahead and chop this out and position it in here, and if I'm happy with that, then I'll go ahead and actually make up the actual MDF layer. So there we have our area. So essentially that's the process that I'll be using with bits of cardboard to assemble really the entire track bed layer, by which way you know you can sort of get a feel for the area. This area in here, which you can't probably see terribly well, is actually going to be an access area with a lift out section. So and then of course the other set of track is going to come around this way, so there's going to be framework at an upper level coming out from here, and then of course there is going to be another additional track bed that's going to be up above this layer here. So here's our cardboard templates that I've begun to lay out. And as you can see from this angle, the templates become invaluable really to determine the very unusual angles that are required where this particular junction is going to be, which is actually relatively complex, I guess. So these two pieces of cardboard here will actually be one piece of MDF. Right, so we've now moved on a little bit, and I've now cut out most of the MDF panels that are needed for track bed. There will probably be a little bit further track bed required up here because there is some sidings planned here, but I haven't done that just yet because I'm not quite sure. I might sort of change my mind in around this area here. So I haven't anchored these down just yet, but there's your framework underneath there, and of course this is where the fiddle yards will begin. and so there will be quite a bit of point work in this section, so hence why I've limited the framework to a minimum really, in the hopes to avoid point motors coinciding with the framework. And here we've built this additional bit of framework here, which is built out and then matching the level of the existing track bed by the station. So that is positioned there, and of course once again there's going to be quite a lot of point work on this panel, so hopefully we're not going to collide with any beams underneath. But if that does come about, then I will be using surface mounted point motors if it's absolutely essential. So that's where we're at so far with this build, and it's slowly beginning to take shape. So there we have it for part 3. Now you probably would have seen in the speeded up demolition section of this video some rather peculiar construction methods were obviously used back when I originally created the layout around about 8 years ago. So where the MDF had warped, I had simply packed it out with plaster, and also the all manner of timber construction of various angles and all different types of timber. It was actually really quite horrific. So with the track bed all sort of kind of more or less mapped out now in that area on the existing layout, I can probably anchor some of that down, and it'll be ready for when the extension framework is then bolted onto the side. So hopefully part 4 will come out next weekend, or it may actually be a few days late on that one, just with Christmas coming up and lots of things to do. So keep your eye out for that. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and that way you'll get a notification of the next video in this series when it comes out. So I'll leave it there for now. Take care everyone, and look after yourselves, and I will catch you next time.